everybody, welcome to this tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to develop this kind of activity in Adobe Captivate. This is sort of like a match the columns activity. So let's see how it works. The objective of this activity is to match the letter of the social media screenshots to its corresponding icon. So the user will be able to sort through the different screens and at the right of every icon, write its corresponding letter. So for example, B, C, and E. The user will have 3 tries to enter the right answer, and at the fourth, a hint will appear. Once the user enters all the answers correctly, a good job image will appear. Okay, so now that we know how this works, let's get into the development process. Okay, so the first step is to import all the assets you will be using and sort them the way you want them to be. In my case, this is how I wanted the activity to look. So here's a few insights about the setup. First, be sure to name all the elements in a way you will remember. I name them as the social icon they correspond to or the letter they correspond to first. And then the type of element it is. So for example, it's Facebook and it's an icon. This will help your development process to go much faster. Next, for the buttons, for the tab buttons, I configure them to have a custom state. This is actually not a native button from Captivate. It is actually a smart shape turned into button. You can use a button, but I wanted them to have a specific texture. So yeah, it's just a smart shape with an image fill. And for the state view, I changed the states. I deleted the inbuilt states and added a custom state as selected. I just changed the color of the letter. But be sure to have this state selected as you're gonna be using it later on. Next, for the text entry boxes, be sure to only have the retain text option checked. We won't be needing any of the other options checked, so just leave them blank. And for an extra feature, if you want, you can limit the amount of text entered by the user. So go ahead and select more settings and add one as a maximum length. Click OK. And lastly, for the setup, remember to hide all the elements that you won't be showing to the user right away. So for example, the good job image. For me, it's a group. So be sure to hide all the group, the complete group from the properties panel on the on the visibility button. Be sure to hide it as well as the check marks and the hint icons and the screenshots. Yeah, so this is pretty much the setup. Let's now move on to the fun part, which is making it work. First, we'll start by creating the variables we'll be using. So it's useful to have all the elements beforehand before starting on. working on your advanced actions. So all text entry boxes must have a variable entry. They usually come with a default variable, but I created a custom variable with a name. You can go check all the variables on the variables dialog from projects variable. Next, we will be using a specific type of logic to know if the answer is correct or not. So we will be using Boolean variables. So if the user enters a correct answer, the Boolean value for that variable will be 1, and if it is incorrect, it will be 0. So for each icon that we have on the activity, we're gonna be creating a Boolean variable as well. So for example, I have a Twitter entry variable, and I'm gonna be creating a add new a Twitter bar B. This is gonna be my Boolean. So I add a starting value of 0 and save it. I actually made this for all the other variables, so you can go ahead and do it for yourself. And lastly, we will need a counter for the amount of tries the user has available. So we'll also create a tries variable. So go ahead and add new, and it's gonna be tries variable, tries bar, with a starting value of 0, and save. Oh, I already have one. So yeah, I already have one. So go ahead and close this dialog. And yeah, so this is pretty much the setup. Now that we have all the elements we need, let's begin working on the advanced action. Let's begin with the screen's functionality. So for this activity, the user will be able to click on any tab and display a determined screenshot of a social network. To do this, let's click on the first tab, select a tab, go on the Properties panel on the Action tab, go on Success, and click Execute Advanced Action. And we'll create a script for this button. Yeah, let's begin by naming our advanced action, and I will be naming it as show A. Okay, so by now you should already have all the screen relation between letters and icons, which letter correspond to which icon. So in my case, um, my letter A corresponds to Twitter. So let's see, show a Twitter image. And well, it is most likely that the user will be clicking different tabs many times. So you will want to hide all the other screens so that the only screen showing is the Twitter one. So we'll go ahead and hide all the others. Hide Facebook image, hide LinkedIn image, the web image, and hide Instagram. And lastly, for this advanced action, To show the user which tab is currently active, we'll be changing the state of the button. So go ahead and change the state of, as this is the Twitter tab, is going to be a Twitter button, change to selected. And following the same logic as before, we want only the current tab to be active. So we'll be changing the state of all the other buttons to normal. Let's see, normal, D to normal, and E to normal. Great. So now save your action. And to streamline our process, I mean, this same logic applies to all of the other tabs. So I'm gonna go ahead and cheat a little bit and duplicate this advanced action and change the values for the rest of the letters. So you can do it manually or you can do it as me. I'm gonna be duplicating and changing. Yeah, I'm gonna fast forward this process because you don't really need to see it. Okay, so now that I've created all the advanced sections for each tab, I'm gonna go ahead and assign them. Don't forget to assign them. So go ahead for all tabs, on success, execute advanced action, and its corresponding action. So it's gonna be for D, show D, and for E, show E. Great. So how about we try this now? I'm gonna go ahead and hide this screen and go and try this out. Okay, so if I click on any buttons, okay, great. This looks amazing. Okay, I'd say we're almost halfway through. So let's move on to the validation of the user entries. All of our validations will be done with one single button. So for this review my answers button, go to actions on the property panel, and on success click execute advanced action. We're gonna create a new advanced action, so click on the plus sign for create and name it as validation. Great. So the logic to to solve this problem is the next one. So if the user enters a correct answer, the check mark icon will appear. And if they enter an incorrect answer, the ground icon will appear. So we'll be using a conditional advanced action. So we'll be starting with Twitter validation. So let's see if we'll be talking about the Twitter icon, the Twitter entry. So the Twitter icon corresponds to the letter A. So if my variable, so it's a Twitter bar, it's equal to a literal A, or if my a Twitter, be sure to select when working with advanced actions, Captivate doesn't really know. I mean, Captivate does make the difference between capital letters and lowercase letters, so be sure to enter both. I selected the variable. Okay, if it's equal to A, but be sure to check any of these condition is true. If if the variable for intruder is equal to A, on the actions panel will assign a Twitter variable boolean. So if this statement is true, we'll assign the boolean with 1, and show the check mark. So it's Twitter check mark, and hide the grung image, Twitter grung. Okay, so for this action, we'll be adding an else statement as well. So if the answer is not equal to either capital letter A or lowercase a, we'll be assigning the variable a Twitter variable boolean with 0. So that means our answer is incorrect, and we'll show the wrong image and hide the check mark. Okay, so let's save this. Great. I think this looks good. Now, this same logic is applied to all the entries for the text entry boxes. So I'll go ahead and create a tab for each icon. I will be cheating as well because I will be duplicating my tabs and changing the values. But I recommend doing it manually if you're new. I recommend doing this manually so that you don't miss anything. As this will help you understand the logic between everything. Okay, so I'm back after creating all the entry tabs. Now that we have all the entries, it's time to validate that all answers are correct. So let's create a new tab and name it as validation. Validation all. And make it a conditional tab. So if or a Twitter variable b is equal to 1 and b is equal to 1 and c it's equal to 1 as well, d is equal to 1. Okay, so this means all answers are correct. So if all answers are correct, we'll be showing the good job image, right? So show good image group. And if any of these entries is incorrect, we'll increment the tries variable by 1. Save this section, and we're almost done. So remember that our objective is at the third try, we want to show a hint message for the user to help them answer correctly. So we're gonna be doing that by creating a new tab, and we're gonna do it like Twitter hint. And this is gonna be a conditional tab as well. So if our variable Twitter boolean is equal to 0, so it is incorrect, and our variable tries, where is it? Here it is. It's greater or equal than 3. We're going to be showing the hint image we added. And click update action, and we'll be doing this for all entries. So I'm just gonna fast forward to when everything is done. Great. Now remember, if the user enters a new answer after the hint image is shown and it is correct, you will need to hide this hint message. So you're gonna go back to all your individual validations, and on your actions section under the if statement, be sure to hide the corresponding hint message. So we'll be hiding the Twitter message and hide the Facebook hint message, the LinkedIn, yeah, hide the LinkedIn hint message, and hide web hint message, and hide, oh, hide hint message. This is for IG. Okay, so be sure to save. That's pretty much it, all the logic you need to use to solve this problem. So now let's go ahead and see how this works. Okay, actually before trying this out, we need to assign the advanced action to the review, to the validation button. So let's assign this and let's try it out. Okay, so our tabs button work, and let's begin adding some incorrect answers and some correct answers to see how this works. Okay, so I have some answers wrong. So let's see. A is for Twitter. C is for LinkedIn. A, B, C, D. Okay, so I still have 2 wrong, but I'm gonna go ahead and try the hint message. Okay, and if I enter all my answers correctly, my good job image appears. See, well, as you can see, this is a really simple activity that will help you gain the interest of your users in a fun but easy way. Let us know what you think or if you have any doubts, and we'll see you on the next tutorial. Thank you!